All right, welcome to the recording of the Sports Podcast on September 28th of 2025. So there's already been two games that already took place for this week. The Vikings took on the Steelers in Ireland, and the Steelers pulled away with the win 24-21. Actually, it was a little more. I guess they decided to come back on the game. So Carson Wentz was playing in because McCarthy's out for a few weeks. I don't know what injury he has, but he's been out for a while now. And then the Seahawks took on the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. Seahawks edged out the Cardinals 23-20. So for your NFL games for today, starting up in about 3 minutes, you're going to have the Redskins taking on the Falcons. Oh, sorry, the Commanders taking on the Falcons. It's so weird just seeing Washington and not calling them Redskins because they were so Redskins for so long. And I know it's a derogatory term for some groups, but I apologize. They're not the Redskins. They are the Washington Commanders. Sorry. Washington Commanders taking on Atlanta Falcons and won. That's right. They did have the party in Atlanta this week. Give me 1 second, y'all. CBS. Fox. Just trying to see what game. Ooh. I'm definitely watching the one game on Fox. Definitely watch the game on Fox. I saw that. I was like, ooh, I need to go click on that one. Going back to the recording. So we got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Buffalo Bills. We got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Detroit Lions. Carolina Panthers visiting the New England Patriots. Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New York Giants. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the game I'm gonna watch today. And then the Tennessee Titans visiting the Houston Texans. I hope the Houston Texans can get it together because both of these teams, I think both of these teams are winless. So one of these teams got to come in with a W. So that's all our early games being Eastern time zone. And of course, your midday games are the Indianapolis Colts visiting the Los Angeles Rams, Jacksonville Jaguars visiting the San Francisco 49ers. My bad. I'm sorry. I was looking at Kansas City. And then the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be my game this week. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Follow and finishing out the midday games, Chicago Bears visiting the Las Vegas Raiders. And your Sunday night game is going to be the Green Bay Packers and Michael Parsons return to Big D, take on the Dallas Cowboys. And we have a doubleheader for Monday night. We got the New York's Jets visiting the Miami Dolphins, 7:15 Eastern time. They got the field painted up just for this rivalry game. And Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Denver Broncos at 8:15. In your Thursday night game for week 5, you're going to be looking at, can I get week 5, please? Thank you. You're looking at your Thursday night matchup, San Francisco Giants taking on the Los Angeles Rams. That should be a really good one. SoFi Stadium. All right. There was a lot of college games that took place yesterday. There was a lot of good college games that took place yesterday. So we're going to start with the big college game that took place yesterday in Athens, Georgia. Alabama Crimson Tide eked out the Georgia Bulldogs 24-21. This was a really good really good game where Alabama came out swinging. Georgia tried to make it a game. They came close, but Alabama held on. They ended Georgia's 33 home game win record with this win. So I don't know what it is about Kirby Smart and Alabama, but for some reason, he can beat everybody else except Alabama. He's actually 1-7 against Alabama. That's crazy. So Kevin DeBoer, I may have saved his job for this season beating Georgia because this was one of the biggest rivalries. In fact, I think College Game Day is going to be in Tuscaloosa next week because undefeated Vanderbilt is going to be taking on Alabama. So that should be very interesting. But yeah, this was the game of the night. This game of the weekend was Alabama, Georgia, and it was a classic right down to the end. So that was a really good one. Another good game in the SEC was Ole Miss taking on LSU, and Ole Miss reaping the benefits of last year's loss by beating LSU Tigers 24-19. Finally, God damn, what's his name? I forgot about his name. Coach of Ole Miss, he finally got that hump off his back, beating LSU Tigers. Congratulations to him. Yes, it was like they fought to the end, but LSU offense has been struggling the last 2 weeks, so they can't put significant points on the board. Their defense pretty much carries that team. So all I can say is once again, congratulations to Ole Miss pulling out the win at home. Another big game was where the college game day crew was visiting Happy Valley, where the Oregon Ducks were taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions. 30-24 in overtime, 2 overtimes to be exact. Oregon pulls out the win in a whiteout game. And look, man, James Franklin, you are 4 and was I think they either said 4-16 or 4-17 against top 10 teams. Every time I see Penn State rank in the top 10, I'm just waiting for the collapse to happen. Well, not a collapse, but more like, is this team for real? And every single time, every single season, they're not for real. Granted, they did have a good run in the college football playoff. I think they made it to the Orange Bowl and lost against Notre Dame last season. But I don't know, man. Like, I think James Franklin is a solid coach. Like, if it was any other team in any other conference outside the SEC, he would be great. But when it comes to the Penn State and the Big Ten, I think this is where he hits his ceiling. And fortunately, it sucks because this is what it is for Penn State. So, yep, good luck, buddy. Another team that inked out another win is Indiana Hoosiers, 2015 against the Iowa Hawkeyes. They got a late touchdown to beat the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now they are 5-0 in their own conference, so that's good. 5-0 in conference, 2-0 in the Big Ten. So congratulations to Indiana. Like, I think this team is for real. Like, last year was an odd fluke. Like, that coach in Indiana knows what he's doing. I think he's building a foundation right there in Indiana. And I'd like to see how they're going to compete against teams like Penn State. I'm not sure if they're going to play Penn State on their schedule. I got to look at their schedule because I'm not really sure. I look at their schedule. So they do have Oregon coming up next week. That should be an interesting matchup. And then they also have Penn State. Oh, so they do have Penn State. Okay, cool. So we got to see what they're going to do against these two teams right here because Indiana's very interesting. I think Indiana could make the playoffs. It just depends how they run the table. Can they make the Big Ten championship? Maybe. I mean, you still got Ohio State. Excuse me. You still got Ohio State. Who should be at the top of the conference. You still got Oregon to look at. Maryland's 4-0, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to last very long in that undefeated streak. And then like USC also lost yesterday, so like I don't know. I mean, like USC lost to Illinois. That was a very surprising loss because USC was doing so well. They were 4-0, and then out of nowhere they just kind of lost. I was gonna have them up on the list. I knew there was a team that I forgot to pull up, but you know I completely forgot about that. Oh yeah, I gotta pull this one up too. Get that one up. That over there. There we go. All right, so moving along. Tennessee, after their close loss against Georgia, when Georgia came into town, they had another close game where they won 41-34 against Mississippi State. Tennessee still hanging on. Maybe they're probably gonna be one of the top 12 teams to make the college football playoff. And then another shocking upset. This happened on Friday night. Going into this weekend, this upcoming weekend, when my Hurricanes visit the Florida State Seminoles, they drop a game against Virginia Cavaliers in double overtime in Virginia. So yeah, this just happened, and I watched this game. I tweeted. I actually got into somebody's stream on Friday. Was mentioning about this, talking about this game, and yeah, I'm actually very surprised that this happened because after coming off that Alabama win, you were thinking that Florida State was going to run the table. Now they may still run the table. They may still come out and beat Miami in Tallahassee because I'm not going to put anything past them. It's a rivalry game against Miami. It's always going to be chippy, and Miami, despite the fact that Miami's offensive line and defensive line has been strong throughout their games, I think that they still haven't been nearly as tested as much against a team that can really put up some points, because this team can put up some points. Like I like Notre Dame can't put up near the points as much as Florida State, although Florida State defense is very questionable at this point. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I was very shocked by this. And yeah, I saw the end of the game where homeboy flipped off the bird against the quarterback. That was crazy. this happened. Like, this happened right on TV. And I don't think they're going to show it. But like the dude ran, the one of the fans ran on the field. One of the students ran on the field and flipped off the quarterback from Florida State. I'm just like, hey, yo, y'all ain't right, man. Y'all ain't right. But yeah, that happened on Friday night. So congratulations to Virginia to pulling off that win upset. And Florida State back to the drawing board. I hope this loss doesn't affect our game this much, because the Lord. And another team that I'm actually very impressed with in the past few weeks is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is for real. Like, Georgia Tech I think they have a very good foundation where they're building. So there's a lot of teams in the ACC on the top that I could see being a problem. And that's basically my, obviously our team, and then Virginia Tech, and then FSU. I'm not going to put Florida State. Like I said, Florida State had a bad loss on Friday, but I'm not going to count out Florida State. I think that it's going to come down to Georgia Tech, Miami, and Florida State, where I see things going. So shout outs to Florida. They pulled off a close win against Wake Forest. Now, I don't know if they can run the table being undefeated, especially if they're playing Georgia at home. I think they're playing Georgia at home this year when it comes to Georgia Tech. But like, when it comes to ACC, there could be a contention for the ACC championship. We'll see what happens going forward. But yeah. Colorado had another close game against BYU, 24-21. I actually watched this game last night. BYU, they was actually leading BYU up into the half, and then for some reason they just fell apart toward the end. I don't know. Like, sometimes I feel for Coach Prime. I know he talks a lot. I know some people don't like him. He's very divisive. Some people either like him or they don't like him, but it's just like you said, this team was leading. They faltered. They come up short, and it's unfortunate. So now they're 2-3 on the season, 0-2 in the Big 12, where the BYU Cougars are running at 4-0, 1-0 in the Big 12. And then another upset that happened recently. I didn't watch this game last night, although I could see about it. TCU Horned Frogs fall to the Arizona State Sun Devils, 27-24. I don't know, where was I when I watched this game? I don't know, but this was late. 1:56 a.m. Jesus wept, bruh. I definitely was not up. Yeah, I was up. I was up till 4. Who am I kidding? I should have watched this game, but yeah. 27-24. Arizona State was in the college football playoff last year, so seeing them beat a team like TCU is not surprising. And congratulations to Arizona State. And then to round out the news about college football, in case you didn't know, Mike Gundy was the second longest tenured coach in college football behind the coach in University of Iowa, and he was fired this week after a very poor performance against Tulsa. So his thing was that he's one of the old style coaches who had multiple 10-win seasons. Like, he was a very good coach, but he could not hang with the current structure that is NCAA today, where now players get their NIL deals, they have to be paid, and they can't recruit players to pay. I guess he just, these coaches that have this old concept, like coaches like Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney's, your Mike Gundy's. Nick Saban said, I seen the writing on the wall, I'm getting out of here. Because he knew that he couldn't hang with the concept of paying players. And it's understandable, like, for what he did. To be fair, he went out on top because, like, he almost made it to the national championship with his team, but they ran against Michigan and Michigan won. Dabo Swinney is actually on the same trajectory right now. His team is not looking good this season, and Mike Gundy's team hasn't been good in like last 2 years or so. I can't remember the last time Oklahoma State had a good team. But yeah, he was actually pushed out of his seat. He was been on a hot seat for the longest. I knew this was coming. It was just it was just a matter of time before they kicked him out. So yeah, they actually had their first game since Mike Gundy, and they opened up with an 18-point loss to Baylor, which is not surprising. The team is not good. They're not constructed, but hopefully, for Oklahoma State University's sake, they can get a coach that is more geared towards the current era of college football, or the NIL era and the transfer portal era, where you have to go out and get players and recruit and do everything that you need to do, and make sure that they have their contracts signed, sealed, and delivered, so they can come and perform for you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off with the college football wrap up because I'm pretty sure the top 25 is going to come out sometime this afternoon. If it ain't out by now, it'll be out in the next hour or so. Moving on to WNBA, and I'm primarily doing this for Sapphire because her and I have been having conversations about some of the stuff that happened recently. Oh wow, give me 1 second. 1 second. I'm sorry. So we was actually talking about WNBA, but before we get to that, I just got some breaking news. So the Arkansas fires their head coach Sam Pittman after a blowout home loss to Notre Dame. I'm actually not surprised. He's the fourth head coach to be fired. Yeah, it's real out here for these coaches. So that's 4 coaches that have been fired this season from Division One. So you had the coach from Virginia Tech, he was fired. The coach from UCLA, he was fired. Mike Gundy was fired during the week after the blowout loss to Tulsa, and now Arkansas's head coach has been fired. Man, it's tough in these damn streets. That's all I gotta say about that. It is tough in these damn streets. Lord have mercy. All right, so moving on to the WNBA. Game 3 happened where Phoenix was able to pull out a win against the Minnesota Lynx, the number 1 team, the number 1 seeded team in the WNBA playoffs, 84-76. And in a home game, Alyssa Thomas was going for a steal against Collier, and Collier ended up coming down hard on her ankle. Now, according to the WNBA, this was, I'll get to that in a second, but because of that play, Collier is currently ruled out for Game 4, and I think it's today. If I remember correctly. Let me see. Yeah, that's today. So 3 p.m. Yeah, that's today. So Nafisa Collier will not be playing today against the Phoenix Mercury, and it's unfortunate to see a top player go down with injuries because she's been injury prone this year throughout the season. But yeah, watching that play, it was tough, and to see her go down with another ankle injury, that's really unfortunate, especially when their team needs her the most. Because and that very same, right after that same play, the coach for the Minnesota Lynx, Reeves, has been suspended for Game 4 after blasting officiating, and she had some, yeah, she was out there on the floor, man. She was definitely out there showing herself. Because this was brutal. God darn it. It's right here. There we go. Put it back. Put that back. So yeah, this was crazy. Like you watch the sequence when the steal happens. And that's the steal happened. That's when she falls. And then right after the play, she makes a beeline for the ref. And then she got her second tech and got thrown out the game. And then she blasts officiating. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. I think she wasn't the only I don't think she was the only person that got fined, because she got fined a few of their I was reading about this. So she got fined, the head coach got fined, not only got suspended but got fined. Assistant got fined. It was like 2 assistants that got fined on top of that. So yeah, that was crazy. I was looking at that and I was like, wow, that was crazy. So yeah, so she's going to be out of the game for Game 4. This is crazy. So like, I mean, the number 1 team is falling. I hope the team responds, because like y'all are missing of eliminations very soon. So you need to get it together and make sure they get this to work. So we'll see what happens. But the game 4 is tonight on 8 p.m. on is this going to be on ESPN? Yep. So we got the early game with the Aces and the Fever at 3 p.m. on ABC, and 8 p.m. is going to be the Lynx and the Mercury. We'll see what happens. Other than that, I think that's pretty much everything for the news. Make sure you check your local listings for news. You can go to ESPN.com. You can go to FoxSports.com. You can go to the Associated Press, where all the news are being reported. And make sure you support your local teams. So give me a second. I know the camera was kind of jerking because the encoder was kind of struggling. keep everything up, I had to actually minimize one of my I had to minimize one of my screens, not screens, and browsers, because I was looking at the stream back, and that's what called the encoder to go crazy. I guess the PC can only handle so much when it's trying to encode and play back at the same time. So give me 1 second. I'm going to make some adjustments, and I'm going to stop recording right here.